So I wanted to rate all the stations in 2.0. But Potato Lemon already has that idea. So I just decided to react.
So, let's get into the video. So, which station is the worst? Well, obviously, undoubtedly, clearly, it is
High
Whitney
Street.
Green.
Wait, it isn't High Street.
This station is the sole model that survives all the way back from version 1.0, which was over 6 years ago. The station is so boring. The station is so boring. The scenery
What
is
do you
just
mean?
trees.
There's
The colour
Tramlink.
palette is just grey and brown, which makes the station look very ugly. There's just
Ugly,
so
but
much to
filled
hate
with
about the
lore.
station. Whitney Green will come in at number 68.
Should have been High Street.
At number 67, we have a much newer station, Hampton Hargate. The actual station isn't really much to look at, it's fine I guess. The problem with Hampton Hargate is the scenery. There isn't even anything to complain about here, there is no scenery. I'm genuinely shocked they chose to upgrade Edgemead and Walter Newton over this one in 2.0. This station is in dire need of refurbishment.
Not much to say about this one, I agree.
At number 66, we have a station quite near to Whitney Green. It's Morganstown Docks. The scenery is okay, I guess, but the station itself is so boring. There's barely anything there. The station is just this weird orangey brown colour, and the entrance has absolutely no detail. Not to mention that this station is
I
pointless,
think all of these
as the only
stations
thing
are
nearby
bad,
that
so
the
I will
station
join you
connects to
after we
is the
see
very
some
close
more
Port
interesting
Benton
stations.
station. At number 65, we have Hemden Park, the first of the stations on the Willowfield branch. The whole line is just a mess at this point, but the worst offender has to be Hemden Park. The scenery is just a couple of buildings and this fountain, but past this bridge there is just nothing for ages in both directions.
You forgot one thing.
This station survived the axe because the line was electrified as far as here in 1939. And today, this tiny branch to Mill Hill East is all that's left. The rest of the line is now a bridge over nothing, and this nature reserve I'm currently trespassing on.
At number 64, we have Ellesmere Pond. It's just an average station, too average to look nice at all. This station is only meant to serve a few houses, and as it's limited, you'd barely ever need to stop here anyway. The level crossing is cool I guess, but it doesn't take away from an ultimately very boring station. At number 63, we have Upper Staplow. The station isn't terrible and it actually looked quite nice when it released, but it's just simply fallen behind others which have been upgraded in 3 years since this one. At number 62, we have New Harrow. Repeat exactly what I said about Ellesmere Pond, except this station has the edge because of the large market and overpass here, which gives the station more interesting scenery and a less boring vibe. At number 61, we have what I believe to be a very hot take. It's Faymere. This station was indeed upgraded in 2.0, but it feels like they didn't even try. The scenery has stayed exactly the same, and it's so boring because it's from 1.4, which was all the way back in 2019. The station is nothing more than a glorified car park with a railway station, which, although it uses present-day models, is still pretty boring and keeps the same general design. So, sorry Faymere, but you only get 61st place. At number 60, we have Beechley. This is our second station to be on the Willowfield branch, and honestly, it's not that bad. The problem is, since it's from 1.6, the lack of detail makes it not the best compared to newer stations, even though the base design is okay. The scenery also lets it down a little. At number 59, we have Millcastle Racecourse.
I'm surprised this is that high up.
In the middle of nowhere, with the actual entrance being about a mile away from the station, and the colour palette for the station and scenery is just grey. Said scenery is also very lackluster with not much to offer. No idea why they decided not to upgrade this one in 2.0 like they did with the nearby Millcastle. At number 57, we have Horton Rake. This is just another basic station, however the base model, such as these fences, although not being amazingly detailed, do make the station look a lot better, and I also like the location of the station, with the scenery being trees on a hill coming down from a small tunnel. Now, at number 56 we have Starry Lock. starting to feel a pattern of non-upgraded Linen Line stations here. Anyway, Starry Lock was a great station when it released, and still is, it's just fallen behind others. The scenery is also not much to look at here, with the beautiful sea being obscured by these massive ugly bushes for whatever reason. At number 55 we have Cambridge Street Parkway. Cambridge Street Parkway for a long time was named as the worst station in SCR, however the 1.8 overhaul of this station didn't do much to quell that opinion. Although it's definitely better than before, they chose to stick with the horrible grey colour scheme, which means that this station still looks very bland and boring. The reason the station is this high is because the entrance drags it up a lot, as it looks very good, and the scenery is amazing because Wonder Mall is here. Not too sure about this motorway to the side magically transforming into a local street near the airport junction though. At number 54 we have Willowfield. By far the best station on its branch, the station is pretty good and detailed, especially this canopy. The depot is also half decent, however, like always, the scenery is what lets it down. It's very minimal, with a few lonely buildings and a street with some shops that just ends after a few meters. It feels like this scenery was done to the bare minimum, not actually to make it look nice, which is what I think drags this station down. At number 53, we have East Berrily. East Berrily is a 1.7 station, and it looked quite nice at the time. However, as SCR standards have improved, this station has started to seem more and more outdated and undetailed, as the station is just 2 grass walls and the bench sign and light models repeated across every station. The scenery is also very bare bones. At number 52, we have East Berrily's sister station, Berrily. Berrily used to look very nice, but now it looks undetailed, with not much to look at in the entrance, concourse and waiting area, and the platforms are very bland looking. I can see that the attempt has been made with these plant pots, however there are no actual plants and it also looks very simple. The reason this one is better than East Berrily is because the scenery is much better with the varied buildings and disused siding. At number 51, we reach Bowden. It's very similar to Berrily in most aspects I mentioned, but Bowden is much better because the platforms are somewhat detailed. Also, dodgy Dave driveway.
I still refer to him as Dodgy Dave.
At number 50, we have West Benton. West Benton itself is probably as detailed as it can be for the tiny station as it is, if I'm going to be honest, but the scenery is what really makes it this low on the list. The scenery stretches so far and is so detailed it's amazing. It's the reason the Benton area, despite being from all the way back in 1.7, is still one of the best areas in game today. The reason the station is so low is because the station itself wasn't fantastically modelled.
How dare you insult Maddie?
Desired, especially in the entrance area. At number 49, we get to Coxley. Coxley is in around the same area as the previous 2 stations, and it's at a similar level of quality. The sidings really aren't anything to look at, as they're basically just 2 extra tracks, and neither is the scenery, which is extremely lackluster with very few buildings. The platforms got a refurbishment
Wait,
in version
did they remove
1.10,
that one
and the
Coxley
new
bench?
canopies look quite cool, which bring this station up above the others. At number 48 we have Greenslade. My reasoning for this one is pretty much the opposite as Coxley. The platforms are really nothing special, and for a station such as this in what seems to be a fairly busy area, this thin island platform may not be enough to suit passenger flow. Anyway, the station entrance and ticket office are quite cool and not really anything like any other station in SCR. And then we get out to the scenery, which is definitely the best part. This tramlink station is so cool, and these buildings give the station such a modern feel as well. At number 47, we have Stepford UFC. Stepford UFC was upgraded in 1.8 along with the other Whitefield Line stations, and while the others have respectably detailed models, this one leaves a bit to be desired. The scenery is okay, the stadium is there and takes up quite a bit of space with a large car park, and a street filled with large shops. The station itself sacrifices aesthetics for realism in terms of the fact that many passengers will be using this station at once, but in doing so makes the station look quite lacking compared to some others. At number 46, we have Leighton Stepford Road. This is the last station here before we get into the good ones, and in the case of Leighton Stepford Road, it's quite disappointing. The station was upgraded in 1.8 to look like Edinburgh Haymarket, and although there were some lacking areas such as the entrance and concourse, the station overall looked quite good. Then 2.0 came around, and for some reason SCR felt the need to remove all the pink from the station, making it look even more grey and bland and making it look so much worse. I honestly have no idea why they did this, and that is why LSR is being ranked so low. By the way, SCR devs, please revert LSR back to the way it was before. It was so much better.
Heck, revert it to 1.7 LSR, or even Winstry hashfix LSR.
I think this is the station that executes the rule of ride the best. The platforms being staggered and on stilts is a really good idea, and the scenery is also quite immersive and stretches far. At number 44 we have Whitefield. Its entrance is nothing special, neither is its depot or scenery really, but what drags it up is the actual station building. This canopy, car park and platforms are quite detailed, and they've recreated Eastbourne quite accurately. Good job! At number 43 we find ourselves at Connolly. This station is from 1.0 and it's aged amazingly well, and although it isn't the most details, it retains quite nicely given its age. The thing that really drags up this station is its scenery. It got a refresh in 1.8 and it now looks incredible, with the coloured houses reminding me of a certain old British kids TV programme.
It's the menopause!
And the streets have quite a nice design, not to mention the boats in the river. A nice, however rarely used, terminus station. At number 42 we have Leighton West. It's quite a small station added in 1.8, but what we do have is pretty detailed. The scenery is small but compact and detailed, with the line itself having some pretty good scenery, and the platform has a nice design, along with the abandoned platform giving the station some character. At number 41 we have Benton Bridge. Benton Bridge is a station not really considered by many SCR players to be good, but although the interior of the station may be quite lackluster, these platforms, station building and scenery are incredibly detailed and modern looking, with the actual model for Benton Bridge also looking pretty nice. Good job! At number 40 we reach Bewley Park.
Overrated
Bewley
as
Park is a
fuck,
lovely
in my
rural
opinion.
station
I mean,
with minimalistic but nice looking scenery, including a signal box, and the platforms are surprisingly detailed for 1.7. Number 39 brings us to Port Benton. Port Benton is from 1.8, and the vibe of the station is executed very well, with brilliant scenery and decent platforms with decorations. The thing dragging it down is the loop for Connect trains to travel back to Benton, as this is possibly the area in SCR with the worst scenery in the game. Still good station though. At number 38 we have Morganstown.
Overrated
Morganstown
as
is from
fuck, in my
1.7,
opinion.
and it looked amazing
Look
when it
at that
released.
bridge, it's
However,
awful.
there are some things dragging it down from being great. 1. The scenery. Morganstown's scenery is limited to these few buildings, and that's basically it. Not good at all. 2. The Morganstown flyover. Possibly the most cursed abomination in the game. It's super unrealistic in the first place for trains to go over, let alone huge speedy express trains. 3. The Morganstown triangle. This awful mess is from 1.1, and they haven't even tried to correct it since then. Seriously, fix the Morganstown triangle. At number 37 we have Whitefield Lido. This station was last updated in 1.8, and its model retains nicely, although its scenery has started to slip behind others in the game, such as the Newry line and the airport. Number 36 takes us to Faraday Road. The station itself isn't much to see, with the platforms, despite being from all the way back in 1.1, having a nice modern feel without feeling too unpolished. The scenery, which was overhauled in 1.9, is definitely the best part, with the depot now being huge and super detailed. Nice job, SCR. At number 35 we have Airport West, the first airport station we've mentioned so far, and Airport West is undoubtedly the worst. The station just feels so odd, with the incredibly lacking entrance leading to the half-exposed, half-underground with weird poles and walls that are just, I don't know. Not the greatest fan of this station.
I mean,
However,
Airport
this
West
station
is
from
nice, surely
1.10,
better
and
than
the
some
reason it isn't
higher-rated
lower is because of the
stations.
scenery, tunnel models, and also the platforms are extremely detailed despite looking very weird. At number 34 we have Ashland Park. Ashland Park is from version 1.9.1, and its model is very detailed, being based off of Reston, and I especially like the footbridge, which is quite unique. However, the scenery. There's barely
I know
scenery
you
to
don't
comment
like
on
the
in first
scenery,
place.
but it's a
However,
big
the sort of
improvement from the
park-like
old
square
model.
with shops and houses that we do have is quite decent, so I'll give them that. At number 33 we have Leighton City.
Guys,
It's from
bring back
1.8,
the
so
music.
it's obviously
I
decent.
almost got
However,
demoted
there's
here
just a
quite
little bit
recently.
missing.
The double
I never
indicators
really
always
clicked with
mess
this
me up.
station as much as
Plus,
I
it's
did
the
with some
reason
others.
why they
I
ruined
don't know if it's the
LSR.
scenery or just the general vibe of the station, but there is something lacking. Just as a disclaimer, all the stations from here on out are extremely well designed, and I'm using the smallest of details as justification for my rankings here. So if your favourite station is low down, don't worry, all the stations in SCR, apart from Whitney Green and Hampton Hargate, are
Man,
great, and
stop
everyone is
insulting
entitled to their
Whitney
own
Green.
opinion. So, number 32. We have City Hospital, which, despite being from 1.10, is not as good as some others. However, these rainbow lights are cool. These pillows down below are a little uninteresting, as is the scenery. The platform is cool and spacious, with the roof definitely providing something unique. The detail isn't fantastic, however, and the shape of the island platform is also a little odd, though that's an incredibly minor nitpick. At number 31, I'm going to say Rocket Parade. The entrance is nice with the modern neon sign, but the trench feel is a bit odd and the scenery
trench
isn't
is
really
odd.
anything
Look
more
at
than a
James
few
Street.
buildings. The platforms are decent enough, though I think I'd like it better if this roof extended a bit further down the platform. The next spot was difficult, but I'm going to stick with my gut and go for Stepford East. The platforms are amazingly detailed and the concourse is very decent as well, but the other entrances apart from the main one are quite lacking, and the roof of the concourse also leaves a lot to be desired. At number 29, I'm going to say Benton. Benton is from 1.7, and although the model is great, it's grown to be a little grey and boring in the years since its release. Scenery is great, however. At number 28, I'll go with Ellesmere Junction. The scenery is what lets it down, with a spacious but very undetailed entrance and concourse. Platforms are great, with an extension being done in 2.0 to hopefully accommodate longer trains in the very near future. At number 27, we have Water Newton. This one looked great when it came out in 1.7, and it got a much needed refresh in 2.0. However, the main design of the station has been kept the same.
Hey, at least the fast
platforms
platforms
are aging to be a
are
bit
finally in use.
At number 26, I'm going to put Stepford Victoria. Although it was upgraded in 2.0, the base model was kept the same as it's from 1.6. It was unfortunately unsalvageable, and the station isn't as good as it could have been in the current version. Still great though, despite these copy and pasted lights. At number 25 goes Financial Quarter. The station along from Stepford Victoria, and it looks great, being from 1.8. I've just grown a bit bored of it over the years, although I don't really know why. There's just something about it that I don't really like that much. This was a really tough decision, as this was my favourite station in the game for a while, but I have to put Eden Quay at number 24. The station isn't really the best, despite having a nice cosy feel, and the station is just copy and pasted streets and houses. So, sorry Eden Quay, but you'll always be an amazing station. This is when it gets really tight. I have chosen to put Lynn by the Sea at number 24. 23. It's a massive station and the scenery is half decent. The concourse is great too, however, some aspects of the station has little imperfections that drag it down. I also think they've added way too many grit bins, and also these speakers being on the overhead line poles is a little weird.
This reaction already too so long to edit. I will cut it here, plus I think I will just get super mad when I hear the final ranking. Potato Lemon has some great videos, so go watch him, and remember to unsubscribe from me because my videos are trash.